We're in 2 weeks in. How you feeling about your group? How have you seen progress?
Good, man. I mean, I will say this: we're a fast defense. Guys have been flying around out there. Um, it's just really, really good to see. Like, I look at where we were last year, where we are today. You know what I'm saying? I feel really, really good all around about every group. You know what I'm saying? I feel good about the depth that we have at each and every position. You know, guys have been able to showcase some of their abilities, and so I'm just excited about that. We put an emphasis on taking the ball away. You know, and guys have been literally taking that to heart. You know, and the way they're practicing, the way they're flying around, I'm excited, man. We're just ready to play an opponent by now.
Speaking of depth, that safety behind Matt and Miles, what are you seeing from Demetrius, Sabur, Mac, those three guys?
Yeah, man, I really believe that. I mean, I think I got 6 guys. You know, Ben Clausen has been a steady riser as well. You know, but between Miles Scott, between Matt Bailey, D Hill, right, obviously you got Mac Mercedes and Sabor Kareem with Ben Clausen, man. I think that's a pretty fierce group. I mean, they communicate at a high level. You know, Coach always talks about tough, smart, dependable. Like, none of that has to do with athleticism. You know what I mean? None of that has to do with your 40 time. You know what I mean? And so guys can get us lined up. Guys can fly around. Guys have been making a lot of plays on the ball. And so we know in this system and within the framework of this defense, right, if you can just do that, you can give yourself a chance to be successful. And I think they've done that for the most part.
What does each of those guys bring to that group?
Well, they're all kind of a tad bit different. You know, I would say I do lean a lot on Miles Scott and Matt Bailey just because they probably are the ones with a little more experience. But I do think the guys that have been in rotation with them, they've done a great job of taking heed to what they're saying because they have been in the fire. You know, it's not a selfish group. You know, anytime you got a room of guys who want to see the other guy have success, I think that's literally the epitome of team. And so just from a defensive perspective, man, it's been truly a blessing to see guys grow each and every practice, you know, and it's been fun to watch.
Brett said the team is playing with an edge right now, or working out with an edge in camp. How have you seen that on the defensive side?
Yeah, just from the standpoint of you know, like, we've been able to just show small clippings of, you know, situations from last year. And, you know, obviously we got probably 45 new faces, and being able to show those clippings and the guys that have been here to kind of learn and grow through those moments. I think part of the reason why you play with an edge is when you've been subjected to certain things in your life, right, or in a game in previous history, you learn from those, or you hope that you learn from them. And so guys they've been really taking heed to us practicing situational football and trying to be detailed and just trying to really, really be intentional about going out there and doing what they're supposed to do, whether it's a tackling circuit, whether it's a takeaway circuit, whether it's a situational football, doing Hail Mary in the game. You know, like, the level of detail in which guys have been practicing at, it's been very, very pleasing from a defensive standpoint.
What's the biggest thing maybe you need yet to be accomplished in camp before you get game ready, so to speak?
Stop hitting each other. You know, I think this is a new age of college football, right? Like, I mean, it's not a secret. We got guys getting paid pretty good money, you know, and from that standpoint, right, like, I look at just the NFL layout, you just got to be able to protect your roster and be careful, you know, just because you are close to a game, you know, and I think Coach has done a tremendous job with how we practice and how we do things, but just getting them, got to make sure we get them to the fight, you know, get them to the game, you know, because obviously this university, the collective, I mean, everybody's invested a lot in these young men, even prior to NIL, let me be clear about that. But obviously the NIL piece takes on a whole nother standpoint, you know, and you want these young men to be good and ready to go and healthy, right? Like you spend the standpoint of, you know, I think fall camp has kind of changed a little bit historically because, you know, back in the day, right, you had 3 practices, you had 2-a-days, right? And so guys are beating up on each other. But now a lot of coaches, especially coaches, just taking a more of a more intelligent standpoint in terms of just trying to get guys physically and mentally ready for game one.
Does that mean with the guys that really like to hit, are you having to tell them, hey, pump the brakes here on your side of the ball?
Yeah, man. I mean, anytime as a coach when you want guys to execute at a high level, and you're on them, right? I get on my players pretty hard because I care about them, but they can take that coaching and all they want to do is please you. And so at times, right, like, guys just flying around, you know, and so I think we've been doing a really good job at it, but continue to teach guys to understand the situation that we're in, right? It's good versus good. Got to protect your teammates. I mean, we probably hear that daily, and I'm sure probably every other school does that as well. But it's a learning process, man, just to make sure that we can that we can get to the game and not hit ourselves over the head daily. And I think guys have been doing a really good job of that, at protecting themselves.
And when you have two guys like JoJo and Demetrius John who are making positional changes, the rule of thumb usually is sometimes you have to start back at square one, but I don't get the feeling you guys feel that way about those two guys and the move that they're making.
Dude, I will tell you this, right? Like, I mean, what JoJo has done, right, being that he changed positions, and I know Coach always says speak for yourself, but he's done some really, really cool things, you know, and from a coordinator standpoint, you get really, really excited about when you talk about him rushing a passer, you know, his ability to play inside and outside, being able to drop off the ball, being able to blitz. I mean, he's done some really, really special things in the last couple of weeks. It's almost like he's been doing that his whole time here. It's been pretty cool, right? Seeing Demetrius move outside, it's going to be really, really beneficial to him. Coach Clint has done a tremendous job, and he had a hell of a practice yesterday, man. I wish you guys could have been there. I'm teasing you. I wish you guys could have been there though, but he had a really, really good practice, you know, and he's steadily getting better. And I think he's a young man. The more reps he gets, the better he's going to be.
Saw Dylan Rosiak get nominated for the Butkus Wadlich. What does that mean for him, and what does he mean to this team?
Yeah, you know, I mean, obviously, Dylan is just a workhorse, man. Like, I mean, what he does is not always pretty. You know, he just gets the job done, right? Like, he's one of those blue-collar, hard-working young men. He's just, whatever job it is you ask him to do, he's going to get it done. And for him to be nominated for that, that's, like, really, really cool for him, right? But it's a testament to not only him, but his peers, the guys around him. You know, and he's a catalyst of our defense. He's a leader of our defense. You know, he's obviously the centerpiece of it. And obviously, if Dylan plays well, we play well collectively as a unit. And, you know, from an individual standpoint for him, you hope that we can put him in a position to have success to go and win. But more importantly, you hope that he can put us in a position from a coaching standpoint to go out there and just play great ball.
And obviously, Terrence and Xavier played a lot of snaps in college football. What do you see from the group behind them? The Caleb Pattersons, the Chase Canadas, Chicken Clark. I don't know if I'm missing anybody, but what do you see in that group?
I will say one name you're missing is a guy by the name of Torrey Cox. All right, I know nobody's not really speaking about him. Right, I won't say too much on him. Again, the rule of thumb from coaches, speak for yourself. But I will tell you this, right? Just like Terrence Brooks' dad, Torrey Cox's dad played in the NFL as well, and he's been having a really, really good fall camp. You know, this is probably the deepest we've been in terms of whether it's group 1, 2, 3, or 4. Like, I feel extremely comfortable about either one of those group of guys getting out there, and it's been so encouraging. I think with what Coach Parker has done in terms of, I can see why he's been a fast riser in this profession, right? Coach Parker's a relatively young coach in this profession. I think this is year 3 for him, maybe, you know. But just the way he teaches those guys and the way they take heed to it, it's been poetry in motion, man. It's been absolutely beautiful. And so the guys are taking the coaching, they're adjusting to it. Guys are making plays out there, and I'm just telling you, like, it's really, really exciting to see, you know. And at this standpoint, obviously, I'm just ready to play an opponent, but it's just a testament to our whole coaching staff, right? Like, you get in this point of camp, right, where mentally it can be draining and physically, right? But just the amount of focus that our players have had throughout the course of these last couple of weeks, right, being so locked in our practices and the detail that goes into our practices, right? It's just obviously we got to tip our hat to our head coach, Coach B.
Coach, a lot of turnover up front, obviously, kind of the biggest story for the defense coming into the year. Seems like finding a playmaker up there is a priority. Has anyone jumped out at you this camp? Anybody taking on that role?
Again, Coach said speak for yourself, but I would tell you all of them. We got some dudes up front, man, that, you know, the last time I was at a place, I remember I was at NC State, we had 4 D linemen drafted. And I'm not saying we're going to have 4 D linemen drafted, but obviously Johnny's in a league of his own, man. But I think that we got 4 or 5 guys up front that I think are pretty special. You know, just in terms of rushing the passer, in terms of getting off the ball, right? It's some guys that people don't know about that I think you guys will have a chance to see this season. And so I think it's going to just be pretty cool just to see those guys kind of take on their own element, right? From our standpoint as coaches, we just want to put them in position to have success. But just overall, what we've done collectively throughout the course of fall camp, I can't tell you how excited I am as a play caller, you know, from the standpoint of having special guys up front to rush the passer.
Does Alex Bray have that in him, you think, to emerge as one of those guys that's going to be noteworthy, you know, and on NFL draft boards, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Alex Brace, he's still young, he's still a puppy, but I do think he has the pedigree, right? He has the pedigree of all those guys who have kind of came through this program and had success early on as young defensive linemen and end up being studs, kind of like as they kind of transition. Joe Barner's another one, man. Joe Barner has all the tools and upside, and he's been having a really good fall. He's growing every single practice. Obviously, you guys know about Seth Coleman, Gabe Akis, Alec Bryant, right? You guys may or may not know about Dennis Briggs. I call him Unc, right? I mean, he's such a steady piece inside for us, and I believe our secret weapon is T-Rod Edwards, right? Because he does a lot of the dirty work and don't get a lot of the credit. But I mean, the fall camp he's had it's I mean, Coach Jameson have done a tremendous job, and I can't be more excited about this unit.
More about Dennis Briggs. You said